The Milwaukee Bucks just lost an absolute heartbreaker against the Boston Celtics, and this game was filled with a ton of different things, but most importantly, the Milwaukee Bucks have Khris Middleton, and the trio of Middleton, Dame, and Giannis are finally healthy. We're going to break all it down on this episode and discuss what it means going forward, because obviously they lost, but there are a lot of things to take away from this. But before we get into all that, a quick reminder, if you're part of the high percentage who aren't subscribed to the channel, this is the place to be for daily Bucks content, so make sure to smash that subscribe button. And thank you guys for your continued support. It means the world to myself. Ladies and gentlemen, let's go over this game, and it was a rough one. I'll preface it by saying that, again, it was a rough one, but the Bucks still played a very solid game, and they're in a very solid spot. I mean, you think about how the season started, and again, I know it was a rough loss, and a lot of fans might not want to hear the silver linings of a game like this, but ultimately, at the end of the day, we finally got to see Khris Middleton, Giannis, and Dame together. And you look at Dame putting up 40 minutes tonight, a lot of heavy minutes for a lot of these guys. And at the end of the day, I'm happy with how they looked on the floor. Now, obviously, it's an intriguing game. Taurean Prince obviously is dealing with an injury. He went out only 9 minutes of play, which hindered them a lot as well, because it meant that Gary Trent Jr. had to step up. It meant that Bobby Portis had to step up, and maybe it meant that Khris Middleton played a little bit more minutes than initially they were hoping he was going to play. That being said, a very solid game from the Bucks. Now again, they lost in heartbreaking fashion. We'll dive into all the the nitty and gritty here of how they lost, because that fourth quarter was rough. We obviously saw they had a chance to win it there, especially with Khris Middleton getting fouled on a three. They had a chance to win, and they probably should have won. There's no doubt about it. I think there was multiple chances for them to win. They're also playing against a Boston Celtics team that is extremely good. We saw it throughout the whole game. It was close. A ton of different lead changes, and I want to start by highlighting a couple things. First half, it was an interesting half. As you were watching the game, me personally, throughout the game, I was specifically watching Khris Middleton. I predicted that he was maybe in yesterday's video that he was probably going to start. He did not start. He obviously came off of the bench, and Boston got off to a pretty solid first quarter. The game was close. Second quarter, the Bucks played well. I'm not too worried about that. My main focus was Khris Middleton, and I want you, if you made it this far, leave in the comment section down below how you thought Khris Middleton played. I liked the direction that he was playing, and that's the big thing that I'm going to be kind of touching on here. I liked the direction in the sense of he was aggressive. He was not afraid to take shots, and obviously someone coming off of an injury at his age, missing a lot of time. Obviously, him, Dame, and Giannis have not played that many games together. Someone fact check the exact amount of games in the comment section, but it's not. They haven't played a ton of games together, so it's interesting. Now, I think they played and they've been together now for 2 years. I think they only played half of last season, maybe 40 or so times they played together. So they've had some time together, but they haven't had a whole season under their belt to get to where they need to be. And Damian Lillard stepped up tonight. There was no doubt that if he was given an opportunity in the end there, late in the fourth, to win that game, he could have went out and won that game. Unfortunately, every time the Bucks missed a shot or the Bucks got it within two, the Celtics would come down. We saw Drew Holiday get a clutch bucket. We saw the Celtics, of course, come out and bounce back when needed. But Khris Middleton looked good. He didn't look good. The shots weren't falling. He missed a couple. He missed a clutch pull-up midi that would have really made it close there late in the fourth. But in general, I like the shots he was taking, and you can see the effect that he has on the defense. He's another added tertiary creator. You have Dame, you have Giannis. Adding a guy like Khris Middleton who can spot up from three, who can, penetrate off the dribble, be a solid, underrated facilitator. He had 5 assists tonight, and obviously he was looking to pass a little bit more because he's fresh off of his injury and still trying to get acclimated to things, and again, coming off of the bench. But he looked good. He went 2 for 10. I know he went 2 for 10. It wasn't a phenomenal game field goal-wise, percentage-wise at all. But I thought he looked fine. I mean, we saw him, he was shooting pull-up middies. He shot a few threes. He got to the free throw line a bunch. So I like the way, I was impressed with the way he was attacking the rim as well. But 6 free throws, he obviously 3 of those came from the three-point foul. So again, he's not a huge, he's not going to be penetrating a ton and drawing to the free throw line a bunch. But of course, he got to the line 3 times before that. And he's not going to be driving a ton. But I like the way he drove tonight. At least made aggressive takes. And obviously, we saw him kick out a few times. It was fine. Gary Trent Jr. really had to play an elevated role tonight with Andre Jackson Jr. and Taurean Prince not playing very many minutes. Of course, Ajax, they were just sticking him in there because the Bucks had been rolling. Taurean Prince dealing with an injury. I cannot understate the impact that Taurean Prince has on this ball club. We saw I was surprised he stayed in the game as long as he did. He put up 0 points. He has been like the unsung hero for this team this season. And as soon as, the team gets healthy, they start to deal with injuries again. And It's an illness. So obviously he's not going to be out for long term. I call it an injury. It's an illness, obviously, but it took him out of the game. So hopefully he won't be out long term. And I'm hoping he's back for the next game. But again, it's a non-COVID illness, I believe was the exact the exact description they gave in the broadcast and post game. So nothing crazy, but he wasn't looking great out there. And you kind of knew when he was playing that he was dealing with something. Again, we thought it was an injury at the start. You were kind of like, hey, what's going on? Ultimately, it was just an illness there. But it is intriguing now. And as you look ahead, Bobby Portis with a really interesting game. Like there was times where I was really impressed with his rebounding, especially going up against a Boston Celtics team that is, number one in the I guess Cavs are number one in the East, but the number one threat in the East, at least in my opinion. He went 4 for 15, and the problem was Bobby Portis and Khris Middleton combined for 6 for 25, which is not enough to win you many games. And mainly, I have a love-hate relationship with Bobby Portis. 9 points, 18 rebounds. He had 7 offensive boards. You were seeing him tonight absolutely battling down low, going for the O boards, and winning a lot of the battles, and especially winning a lot of the defensive battles. But the back and forth tonight was, I like the fight of Bobby Portis. I'm just not entirely sure that he is the solution going forward. And that's kind of what's happening throughout this game. And as you watch the game from start to finish, no team led by a ton of points. No team got a double digits lead. I think the most was, the Celtics led by 8. But like it was back and forth the whole game, and I like the way that Khris Middleton played. Bobby Portis, he went 4 for 15. He got to be better offensively. I still think they ship him off. Giannis, phenomenal game. It took me this long in the video to talk about Giannis because I want to talk about Khris and the other guys. Giannis, phenomenal game, 30 and 10. He looks great. Dame, phenomenal game as well. Like I mentioned, I think Dame, if he was given the chance, would have been fine. The superstar duo was phenomenal. Fell just short. It is what it is. I think they're going to bounce back in the next game. That's why I'm taking such a positive approach to this game. I just think that they looked solid against a very good Boston Celtics team when they're not healthy. And, Drew Holiday had 20, Jaylen Brown had 25, Jason Tatum had 34. And that's where the defense hurts a little bit, not having a lockdown defender on Jason Tatum. We saw some guys get some minutes on him. Gary Trent Jr. did okay. And as you look ahead now, and something else to keep in mind from this game is the ongoing rivalry between Jaylen Brown and Giannis Antetokounmpo. We saw in the third quarter, they got into it once again. I think adding fuel to Giannis's fire here as he put up 30 points on Jaylen Brown's head. So we saw similar incidents back in November with when the Celtics beat the Bucks. So ultimately, Celtics are getting the last laugh. Jaylen Brown's getting the last laugh in the sense of winning the games, but something to keep an eye on going forward. And like the Irmia says here, all things considered down the stretch, that's the shot you want down the stretch. No doubt in my mind, Dame hits those when it counts most. Boston made 1 or 2 more plays. The team is beatable. See you guys in the playoffs. And again, he was given the chance to hit those shots. I have no doubt he's going to hit those shots going forward. I think he's going to get a ton more of them. And every time the Bucks got close, they got within 4, they got within 2, the Celtics will come down and bounce right back because that is the type of team they are. So overall, not horrible. I'm taking the positive approach. Let me know down below what you're taking. I understand if you want to be negative, but I like seeing Khris Middleton back, limited minutes. He got his shots up. He's looking comfortable, hitting his free throws, and I think with a couple more pieces, especially added at the deadline, this team will be very good. But let me know down below what your thoughts are. Make sure to hit the subscribe button. Run the way to 2,000 subscribers, and hopefully the Bucks can take care of business in their next game.